Well, good morning, everybody. Game time, Brian, otherwise known as the mailman. Off day number two, return to work tomorrow, back to the grind. But we got a lot to do today. It's going to be nice outside. Um, Getting my morning video out there, Not much to talk about these days, but the Cowboys, other than why they can't do this, why they can't do that. Yeah, placing blame. Nobody, and I mean nobody, is more upset than I am that we haven't had more playoff success. Let's put it that way. Nobody, not one person. I got into it with Dak Delusional. Yeah, Dak Delusional. Thank you for always commenting. Just because we don't agree doesn't mean I don't appreciate you. Um, Again, you know, I come from a in an area where I like people to be able to speak their mind as long as they're not, you know, calling people names or using metaphors. I don't have time for that. But listen, I'm not that guy. That our conversation yesterday started with state of the team. You know, I'm not going to give a full schedule prediction right now, people. It literally could go from 9 to 12. I mean, if injuries, it could be worse. I'm gonna keep it real. If we lose a lot of these close games, it could get ugly. People could get fired, and that's all part of going all in on 1 year deals. I get that, but again, to just overlook certain things. I hate getting to the Dak thing. If anybody knows, me and Mark Holmes have gotten into it many times over Dak. Yesterday annoyed me, not with Mark as much, but he does double down with it, and it's disappointing when it comes to Troy Aikman because um, it's a different game. It's a different game that we play now that we played back then. What Troy Aikman did was incredible. I hear people like Copizzle, say, well, Troy Aikman didn't have the stats. He was on a great team. Okay, but the man stepped up. You people forget the beating that Troy Aikman took when he started his career. Literally walked into the worst possible situation imaginable. The only redeeming quality you had was Michael Irvin coming off an ACL. Dallas Cowboys won one game in his rookie season, and he wasn't the guy who got the win. It was Steve Walsh out of the University of Miami, who ended up being traded, right? I believe he was traded for a one. I think they got a one. Put it in the comments if you know exactly what they got. Troy Aikman took a beating. I was at the vet in the 11th sack game. Go back and look. Just Google. Anybody that has a problem with Troy Aikman, go back and Google his hits that he took in his career. He was a leader on the field in the huddle. He wasn't a leader in the media. On the field, in the huddle, and to ownership, he opened his mouth. Maybe Dak could take a page out of his book, but it's a different time and place, whoever the quarterback of the Cowboys is. Okay? You get your contract, then you open your mouth and say, okay, now what are we going to do? Let's go. Be a little more vocal. Being a team guy, a company man, isn't helping you with ESPN. Everybody says that Dak Prescott is, too nicey nice. There's nothing more that I would want than Dak to win a Super Bowl. For him, for me, for everybody. It's nothing personal. I'm a Cowboy fan. So I hate talking about Dak because this is where it goes. It brings out the worst in people. Because then we start tearing down everybody else. We start tearing down what was good. The greats. The greats. The greats. Aikman needs to be shown more. I don't have Romo out here. I got a Romo jersey. He didn't win. I got multiple Dak jerseys. Do you see him behind me? No real success. The winners are behind me. And Ray Finkel. Alrighty then. But anyway, this is not a Dak video. I just want people to know where I stand. But let's not rewrite history. Different game, different set of rules, officiated differently. All the offenses back then, minus a couple who had no playoff success, were like the Cowboys. Dallas did it the right way, built inside out with the running game, with the tight ends. Some people want 12 personnel in the worst way. Well, what do you think is going to happen with 12 personnel? You think you're going to put up the numbers that Dak's been putting up? No, but it's more efficient. I got news for you. You put Troy Aikman in a run and shoot in a West Coast offense, he will put the numbers up and then some. So let's stop going back and ripping our greats to fit your argument why this team can't get it done. I think it's up here, people. I don't think it's talent with Dak. I think coming out of college, I think Dak Prescott had a lot of mechanical issues. To his credit, he's addressed most of them. But like Romo, you pick something every year and you get better at it. Every offseason, Romo would improve. Romo's problem was he didn't have a pro body. He couldn't take the hits. He was like me, trying to play quarterback. Well, he's taller than I am, but you get the point. I would get murdered trying to play a professional sport. Some people are built for it. Some people are not. I'm built to deliver mail and run my mouth. So, please stop with bashing our greats and trying to compare them to this game. It's a different game, people. Stop going back and saying, well, he didn't throw for this. Learn the game. That tells me you're jaded. You have an agenda. Stop. Please. Roger Staubach didn't put up that much stats, so he wasn't good. He's not as good as today's quarterbacks. Stop it, people. It makes people look lesser than they should. Just stop. Right now, Dallas is in a pattern. And let's be honest. A lot of these teams, you see the graph that I put up there, and I can't show you now, about the Super Bowl winning teams. Yeah, as horrible as it's been, we're still right there. We win the next one, we got just as much as any, but that don't make any of the younger or me. I don't know what's worse. A younger person who's never seen the win or me I would say the younger people, but I've seen it. I've seen the losing when I was young. Then I've seen us finally get over the hump, and then I've seen the 29 years of nothingness. So there's not much to talk about right now until we get to training camp. We're still waiting for the dates on training camp. I know we have a mandatory mini camp at the beginning of June. I'll be interested to see what's going on. It'll be interesting to see. The last thing I'll say on the Dak matter today, for now, you never know. It's a fluid situation. Is if a deal's not done by the end of training camp, then he needs to go. Okay? Then he needs to go at the end of the year. If a deal's not done. That's all. You're not coming back at that point. You get out to free agency, you're a fool of an organization for even bringing you back. Because now you look like you're literally bargaining against. Well, right now, Dak, you could say, hey, him and his agent can write the numbers down, knowing that Dak holds all the cards, not some of the cards, or he has a better hand. No, he owns the card room. He owns the casino right now. Okay? He can walk up and say, okay, I don't know. This will never happen, people. But Dak could walk in and say, this is what I want. Okay? It's not the most. It's not the least. This is what I want. This is how much guaranteed. This isn't a negotiation. If you want me to stay as the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, this is what I want. I'm not going to tell you the number, but they can and say, with this, I expect you, and I will be vocal about winning a Super Bowl and doing everything possible, starting with me, and see what they do. If they say no, then say, okay, then shut it down. I will not be here next year. You don't have to negotiate at all. And whenever that number falls, it falls. People go, you can't pay $60 million. 60, the salary cap is going to explode. It's going to keep getting more and more. You see what's going on with the streaming. And we'll get into that in the later video. I don't want to make this video. Maybe later, I'll probably do another antitrust lawsuit video, maybe this afternoon. And I'm going to try and do a lunchtime chat too later. Later this afternoon. Later, like maybe 4 o'clock or something. I got a lot to do. I got to go to the gym. I got to get a haircut. Got to go outside, do some stuff. I got stuff to do downstairs. I can never get it all done. But that's what he should do. And if it doesn't happen by the end of camp, then both sides need to move on. Dak has all he has all the incentive to play well, to get his new contract with whatever team that it is. We did outline yesterday my 4 teams in no particular order: Saints, Rams, Giants, and Raiders. And then outside the bubble would be Jets and the Eagles. If the Eagles fall off the face of the earth and Dak's a free agent, don't think for 1 minute that if the Eagles start off rough and they let Sirianni go and Kellen Moore is the head coach of the Eagles, and let's say and they decide they want to move on from Jalen Hurts, there is a chance of that. It's not like there's no chance. There is a chance. Bill Belichick, if not Kellen, Bill Belichick. But who do you think Kellen Moore would want as a quarterback? They set records in Dallas. Yeah, they won a playoff game under Kellen. They did win a playoff game. So again, that's far-fetched, but not off the table. It's Vegas they're one of the teams. So, but mainly Saints, Giants, Rams, Raiders, outside chance of Jets, Eagles. That's it. But he can go to there and get $55 to $60 million. Whether you guys would do it or I would do it, doesn't matter. That's what he's going to get in the open market. But anyway, as we move forward, I'm sure we'll deal with this again, but I'm not going to have the Aikman. It's not bashing. It's the, well, no, me. How fast we forget. To fit a narrative because you like a quarterback, you're going to shit on Aikman. Stop. Doesn't look good. But anyway, we are getting ready. I wanted to hear a little bit. I have not looked at this. I'm not going to watch the whole thing. Mike Zimmer, I want to listen a little bit of what he has to say. Our season, I think offensive line, I think Guyton is going to be a big piece. I don't think we're going to be better at center, people, with Brock Hoffman. And if the juggernaut wins the job, then that means he's playing so much better than Hoffman that he's going to be the starter. But we're good. It's the left tackle. Let's make no mistake. The left tackle, is he going to pan out? And our defense, what is Zimmer doing? I hear we're talking to Linval Joseph now, but who knows? But let's see. Mike Zim. Let's listen in.
Can you talk about your working relationship with McCarthy? I know you guys knew each other from coaching against each other, but being on the field and being in the building together, how's that going?
It's gone good. Yeah, he spends a lot of time with the offense, but he comes in and we sit down and talk about scheme and players and situations and things like that. So yeah, it's been good.
Mike, what did you miss the most about being away from the game?
Probably being around the players.
Looking old there, isn't he?
Like this last couple of weeks when we go out here, we're doing the phase 2 stuff. It's been a lot of fun to get out with the players and start to understand them and try to teach them as much as I can about
very basic stuff,
not just
people.
the position,
Very
but
basic.
the other positions and why we do certain things. I think that's been the best part.
You haven't been able to get your hands on Mozzie yet, obviously, with him coming off of his deal. But what do you expect for this year, and what are you looking for from him?
Well, obviously he was a high draft pick, and I heard that he kind of struggled a little bit last year. So, we're going
You
to start with the
heard.
basics, get him in a good stance, get him in, using his hands the right way, getting his footwork the right way, and then kind of go from there. I talked to him a little bit, I guess it was yesterday, and he said, I asked him what weight he feel comfortable at, and so we got to get him to that point first, and then, get his strength back, and then, we'll let him go out here on the field, and, we anticipate that he's going to be a good player like he was in college, but, that's how we have to go.
I like Zim. He keeps it
Going to be
real.
asked to do similar things than what he did at college.
Yeah.
I think that you get off philosophy Jeff was just talking about is just different. Can you kind of elaborate as to kind of why he might be more comfortable with what you are prepared to ask of him?
Well, that's kind of what he did in college. He lost a lot of weight when he got here, and he was trying to be a attacking 3 technique to get up the field, and we're going to probably play blocks a little bit more than that. Try not to get reached, so linebackers know where they're supposed to fit, and so on and so forth. So, I guess that's the biggest thing.
What's the next step that Micah Parsons needs to take as a player?
I
Micah.
don't have to take many steps. I think, as we're just sitting up there again this morning talking about other things we can do with him, and he's such a dynamic player that I said this the other day that the offenses are always going to know where he's at, and so they're going to turn protections to him. They're going to have the back help chip no matter what it is. And a lot of the games he played last year that I watched, the offenses had a good scheme where they get 2 tight ends on him and all those things. So we're gonna obviously gonna move him around, doing different things with him, but we're gonna use him some ways where we're getting the protection turned the way we want it turned, and then able to win on the other side. And there's sometimes we're gonna try to overload a protection where he gets a one-on-one.
Just real quick, and we'll go back to it. Micah Parsons. Zimmer did make a comment. He did make a comment. And shout out to the Eagles. Again, I give them credit all the time. I never get it back. There's never any reciprocation. So a lot of my Dallas subscribers saying, F it, stop being so nice to the Eagles because they don't ever reciprocate. Whatever. I'm going to keep it real. Eagles did take advantage of Micah, and Zimmer had to come out and said, we got to make them pay for doing something. It's called when a defense or an offense makes an adjustment to a player, it's up to the other team to now make the next move. And that's what Mike Zimmer is talking about, doing another move. We can't just get punked and say, okay, we're going to make Micah look stupid. Mike is a great football player. And shout out to the Eagles and other teams, not just the Eagles, who have schemed up a plan at times to take advantage of Micah. Now it's time to use that. That's the one thing Dan Quinn did not do. Dan Quinn, obviously looking back, it was butthurt that we didn't bring in Bobby Wagner, and I was all on board for it. And he made a statement as soon as he got to the Commanders that he's glad to be with an organization with a win now mentality, meaning kind of like going all in, Jerry. And what did he do? I told everybody where Bobby was going to go, and Bobby ended up with the Commanders on a 1-year, $5 million deal. I don't know how much is guaranteed. He could have been here last year and the year before. He wanted to play in Dallas. He just came out a few days ago and said it again. So, looking at this team, everybody wants to harp on Dak. It's the front office, people. It starts at the top. Again, I've had my arguments going back to last summer. Real. That was real. Where Mark, was happy with some of the moves that Stephen Cowboy Jones is, and I wasn't. I was not a happy camper. Now we're kind of down the same road where we're waiting, and it's CeeDee Lamb's contract. We know they get done at training camp. We'll see. But let's listen to more of Mike Zim before we get out of here.
You encourage the sumo wrestling training technique?
Yeah, he could have done that with me probably.
You obviously big focus on stop and run. You got you're inexperienced on paper at the defensive line, even with Mozzie.
Right.
With the scheme gonna make that much of a difference?
Well, I hope so. You know, it's so. You know, my first year as a coordinator, my very first game, we played Philadelphia, in the pickle
Yeah.
juice game,
Yeah.
and we gave up 220 yards. Right, and I was a secondary coach.
Pickle
and
juice.
my
Bang.
first day as a coordinator, I said, hey, we're going to
Andy
go,
Reid, I
let
think.
those guys go up
Yeah.
front. We gave up 220 yards. So since that day, from the rest of whatever year that was, 2004 or something, we've concentrated on getting the run stopped rather all the time. Now we want to rush the quarterback too. I mean, you know, but we feel like it's you know, in order to rush the quarterback, you got to stop the run and get into
Right.
those kind of situations.
You talked about Mozzie gaining. How much does he weigh now? What's his ideal weight that he said he wants to get to?
I think he told me he's like 305 right now, and I'll keep that his ideal weight to me.
Okay, because he was like 330 in college, 325 in college.
Yeah, he thought he was too heavy for that.
Okay.
So
What's the best way for these young guys to make?
Okay, so we're probably looking at 315 is probably where he wants to top out at.
Before they get to do the really physical stuff.
yeah, I think, you know, obviously the smart players always are the better players, you know. So if you can get them, if you see things and you get them to do that, and
Darren
you know,
Woodson.
the anticipation that they have, you know, if they're
This man
taking
here
to coaching, if they're taking to
Mike
teamwork,
Zimmer
you know,
made Darren Woodson.
understanding their role, and you know, I always say this: do your job so someone
Without
else can
Darren
have
Woodson, we
success
don't win
doing
3
theirs.
Super Bowls.
You know, you might have to sit there and take on a double team,
People
and it's
don't
no
wanna
fun,
admit
but you're
that,
doing
but
it
it's
because
true.
the other guy can make the tackle. So, you know, those are the kind of things that we kind of stress, and you know, playing good team defense, and you know, obviously all the things. You know, be really good on third down. You know, good in stop and run, being good in the red zone. But you know, when they get out there and they're on the field, they know what they're doing, and they go out and make plays. You know, without risking leaving someone else in a bad spot.
How different are you as a coordinator from your first time here?
I don't know. I mean, I was a head coach for 8 years, but I was still running the defense. So I guess, you know, everything evolves and changes and things like that. I don't think I'm that much different. Maybe I don't know. You guys will be able to tell me.
Your temperament the same as it was in the past, or your
That'll be
impatient
interesting, people.
temperament? Your disciplined temperament.
What are you saying?
That'll be interesting to see.
I don't like mistakes. No. But,
That'll be
you know,
interesting to see how
these
the
guys have been
dynamic
good so far.
between
They've been really good.
Micah,
They've been on point. We had a really
him,
good walkthrough this morning.
how that's
one of
going
the
to
better
work.
ones we've
Because
had
he's
in a
going to get
long
in Micah's
time.
face if he's not in the right spot.
You know, so they're trying, and you know,
I think
I just
Micah
want to
knows
coach
better.
guys, and I want to
think
get
Deion
them better.
will get
So,
to Micah.
You know, and there's different ways to do it.
Darren
There's,
Woodson will
you know,
get
you
to
can
Micah.
yell at him. You can put your arm around him. You know, you can
Greg
pat him on the
Ellis,
butt, you know,
who's now
whatever.
part of the
So,
coaching staff, played under Zimmer.
Each guy's going to be a little bit different, and maybe
Zimmer's a hell of a
we'll just see how it
defensive
goes.
coach.
I know talking to Steven.
Zimmer came to Dallas under Parcells, and Parcells said, you got to run a 3-4. He never ran a 3-4
Well, I hope so.
before.
We'll find out.
Never.
I mean,
what do you do with
you know,
it?
it's always the proof is in the pudding, right? You know,
Right.
you gotta go out there.
First
but,
year,
you know,
they
it's
were
like
like
it's
10th
like I told
overall.
the defense the first day I got here. I said, you know, this is a different deal for me. Usually when I come in, you know, the defense is not good, you know, and they're pretty darn good. So it's a little different for me because we have to,
everybody's
you
getting a
know,
little carried
advance
away
some
with
of the
this
things
team.
that they were doing good.
Very
and
talented
try to,
in all the right spots.
Improve on the things that they weren't doing.
They're not
good.
perfect.
So, but
Like
for the
no
most
team.
part, they played pretty darn good, and we're going to try to accentuate that.
We got news for you. The
Maybe,
Chiefs aren't
you know, be a
perfect
little bit
either.
more
They just got a
technique-oriented
perfect
and maybe a
quarterback.
little bit more disciplined, some of those things. But
And
at
Chris
the end of the day,
Jones.
we got to do it the way I want it done, right? Because I know you try to come in and you do somebody else's thing, and you know it just doesn't just.
That's why I like
doesn't
Zimmer.
go
He gonna
good.
do what he
One or
does.
two more Kendricks.
Being here
Yeah.
to that process.
Yeah, we were just talking about that today. You know, like the walkthrough today, I gave him a bunch of hard things, and you know, he's quick and he's said it before, done it before, and so we were just talking about that today a little while ago. How much, you know, if he wasn't here, how much different it would be, and so we're really glad that we have him. You know, he was an All-Pro player for me a while ago. Obviously, a really good player. So
Good
hopefully he
overshowing,
can
looking
keep
good.
going that way and help the guys around
Eric
him.
Kendricks.
With dictating protections the way you say Micah does, have you had guys like that? I don't know if DeMarcus was too early in his career to do that, or and he was a guy that
largely stayed on the right side.
Yeah, I mean, if he's on the right side, you kind of know where that he's going to be, right? Michael won't just be on the right side; he'll be in different spots, and not really to that extent. That we,
I like that. He
so
won't
like
be
when
in
Ed,
one spot. He'll
a
be
lot
in
of
different
times the
spots.
protection goes
That's
to
what.
linebackers, and when
Bingo.
Barr, he started being really good on getting on backs and things like that. Then we knew the protection was
All right,
dictated.
I'm going to leave it here,
him,
people. I'm going to leave it here, and this is how I will sum up this video. Obviously, it started out kind of, I'm over the Aikman. I wouldn't call it Aikman bashing. I would call it, what's the word that I'm looking for? Minimizing, overlooking. Because you look at numbers and you look at the talent around them, right? You go, oh my God, he had this, he had that, he had this. Okay, they were 20th in offense in 1995. Okay, with all that talent that all you people want to say, well, he had this guy, he had that guy. What does Dak have? He had this guy. They were 20th in offense, people, when they won the Super Bowl. All those guys you're talking about weren't what you said they were in that year, 95. Maybe 92. I mean, I'll give you that. Defense, they were 16th overall. 16th. There was, I don't know how many teams there were at that point in 95. 30? Let me know. Was Jacksonville? I mean, I can Google it, but was Jacksonville Jags or the Carolina Panthers in the league in 95? Maybe they were. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. They were 16th on defense. So all those talent, but we're going to crap on Aikman. So let's stop the Aikman overlooking or diminishing because of his numbers. You don't know what you're talking about. A. And B, this is what's going to be the difference in this year. This guy right here is going to determine. We are not going to have a horrendous season if he gets this defense stopping the run and playing his style of defense, because he loves to come after the quarterback. He don't need the defensive tackles to do it. So, again, this team is going to go as Mike Zimmer takes them on defense. Point blank. If we come out stopping the run, that's going to open up everything. Teams are going to be one-dimensional. We have arguably, I'm sure I'll get comments for this, one of the best secondaries in the league. Bottom line, do we have the best guy? Okay, no, we don't have Sauce Gardner, but as far as secondary rooms, there's nobody who has more turnovers than us over the last 3 years. So, and we're getting Diggs back. And that's not even to mention a Gilmore, which it doesn't seem like Gilmore's coming back. But I like the fact that we have a lot of unknown pieces that nobody knows about, that the real Cowboy fans know all about. Eric Scott, you guys don't know. The Junior Fajoko, that's fine. John Stevens Jr., that's fine. Jalen Brooks, don't say nothing. On and on. And we have a lot of players that nobody knows about that were either in, DeMarvion Overshown. I know you guys know the name, but you'll see. With Mike Zimmer, that's the key. If Mike Zimmer does his job and gets this team playing anywhere near top 10 overall defense, you'll see. But anyway, that's it for me. I got to come up with a title of this video, but I will see everybody later. I'll try and do another small video on the lawsuit that I think is about to happen with all the streaming and everything. And I'll do a video, or I'll do my lunchtime chat, but it won't be lunchtime. It'll be later. It'll be 4 or 5 o'clock-ish. All right? Talk to everybody later. Game Time Brian, otherwise known as the Mailman, is out. Bye.